Today I have 3 farmhouse theme projects that I'm working on. I'm going to refresh a milk can that I have at my front door. I'm going to make a wooden sign for my front door, and I have a pitchfork that looks great put on a porch, especially for the fall season. So let's get started. Lots of work. I hope you enjoy these projects. And this is what I'm going to be working on today. A pitchfork that needs to be refreshed that I've had at my front door, a milk can that needs to be refreshed that I've had at my front door, and a panel off of an old dresser that I am going to turn into a farmhouse welcome sign. The first project that I'm going to work on is this pitchfork. I actually got this pitchfork quite a while ago from the dump. Dug it out, brought it home, and I painted it back then with some chalk paint, and it started to weather a little bit. So I'm going to refresh it with some of my homemade chalk paint, and I'm going to put a really pretty graphic on it. Okay, my chalk paint has completely dried, and now I'm going to put this welcome graphic on it. If you've been following my channel, you know I love my Mod Podge reverse graphic transfer to put on my graphics, and that's what I'm going to use for this project. I've printed off this graphic on my LaserJet printer. Make sure you reverse your text if you want to do a project like this, just on regular computer paper. And all the graphics that I'm using today in all 3 of my projects are available in my Etsy store. I'm going to use my Mod Podge mat, and I'm just going to put a light coat over the whole graphic. Make sure you're covering the whole piece of paper, and then I'm going to flip it over and center it where I want it on my pitchfork, and then rub any wrinkles or bubbles out so it's nice and smooth. I have quite a few tutorials on my channel that go really into depth into this method. If you want to learn how to do it, I'll put a link down below in the description so you can go back and you can watch those, and I'll show you a more thorough step-by-step tutorial. Now my graphic has completely dried. I've let it sit overnight, and I'm just taking a damp rag and I'm just wetting that paper just so you can start to see those graphics through, and then I'm going to rub off the paper and you're left with a really pretty graphic. I've sealed it up with some outdoor polyacrylic sealer, and look how cute this is. These look so cute propped up on your porch, some flowers around them for a farmhouse feel. Second project is this old milk can that I have had on my porch for quite a while. The paint has faded on it, so I'm going to refresh it. I'm going to put on a coat of my homemade black chalk paint over the entire milk can. And I'm going to put a customized graphic on this of our last name and the year that we were established. I'm going to make my graphic the size of a piece of paper. So I'm putting this on just as a guide so I can tape off the area that I want to paint with some white chalk paint. And if you want to do a project like this, make sure you use some good painter's tape so the paint doesn't bleed through when you paint it on. So now that I have all the tape on, I'm going to peel that piece of paper away, and I have a perfect square the same size as a piece of paper. And I'm just going to take my white chalk paint and I'm going to paint in between that square, and it'll probably take 2 or 3 coats to get it covered really well. If you're interested in me doing one of these custom graphics for you with your last name and a year on them, I do have it listed in my Etsy store, so you can head over there and check it out, and I can custom make you one. Now this is completely dried, and I'm just going to peel away that painter's tape, and I'm left with a perfect square. And this is the graphic that I'm going to use on my milk can, and I think it's the perfect graphic at a front door. And again, I've put this in my Word program, sized it to the size that I want it, printed it off on my LaserJet printer on regular computer paper, and I'm going to use my Mod Podge mat, and I'm going to put it right in that painted square, and then I'm going to flip it over after I've got all the Mod Podge on, get all the wrinkles and bubbles out of it, and then I'm going to let it sit overnight and dry really well before I rub off the paper, and the graphics will be left on my milk can. Okay, everything is completely dried. I'm taking a rag, just dampening it till you can start to see the graphics through, and then rubbing off all of that paper. Now I wanted to show you, sometimes not all the graphics turn out perfect. I was rubbing this in a little piece of the G kind of rubbed away. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a little bit of Mod Podge right on that black ink of where it rubbed off, and then press it down exactly where it goes on that graphic and line it up really well. And then I'm going to set it aside and let it dry really thoroughly, and it should fix itself and have that black ink transfer back onto that graphic on my milk can. I just wanted to show you that not every graphic that I do turns out perfect, and it takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of practice to get the hang of it. And even with me doing these graphics for a lot of years, I still have some that don't turn out perfect. But I love the way that this one turned out. It just kind of gives it that farmhouse feel and kind of rustic look. I'm going to seal this milk can with some polyacrylic sealer outdoor. You want to make sure if this is going to be outside in the elements, you're using an outdoor formula to make sure that it's sealed really well. I'm so glad I finally got around to kind of sprucing this milk can up. It's been sitting at my front door and it's kind of looked dingy, and it's one of those projects that I never really got around to doing, but I love it now and I can't wait to get it at my front door. Love the graphic also. And if you're interested in me making a personalized graphic for you to do a project like this, make sure you head over to my Etsy store and check it out. The third project is a face off of an old antique dresser. I couldn't get the handles off of it, so I thought I would just leave it, and then I would use the other side to make into a farmhouse welcome sign for my front door. So I flipped it over, and I'm going to paint the back of that dresser door with some black chalk paint, and that's going to be the front of my sign. I love my homemade chalk paint recipe, works fabulous. I'll put a link down below in the description so you can go and check out that recipe and mix some up for yourself. Now I'm going to use some Vaseline along the edges of this sign so I can make it look chippy and vintage, and I'm just putting some on my fingertip, and I'm just putting it anywhere on the sign where it would have some natural wear all around the edges and on the top and on the bottom. And then I put on a coat of some brown chalk paint. Gonna put on some more Vaseline on top of that brown chalk paint, just in random little spots around the edges. And then anywhere you've put the Vaseline, the paint will not adhere to it and it'll show the color underneath of it. And now I'm going to put a coat of my homemade white chalk paint, and then I'm going to put another coat of my white homemade chalk paint, and then I'm going to take it outside, give it a really good sanding with a coarse sandpaper, and you'll see all the chippiness that that Vaseline leaves and shows all those different colors through the edge of the wood and gives it a real rustic, really vintage look. Now we're ready to put the graphics on. Again, the Mod Podge reverse graphic transfer, I love it. This is the graphic that I'm going to use. Welcome to our home. I have put the graphic into my Word program and I have sized it to fit my board, and I'm going to use my Mod Podge mat. If you've bought my graphics, or if you have made your own graphics and you're not really sure how to reverse or how to size within your Word program, I have a full tutorial on how to do that. I'll put a link down below in the description and you can go and watch it and it'll help you out. This is set overnight. I'm just taking a damp rag. I'm just dampening it just so you can start to see the graphics show through. You want to be really careful because if you put too much water on this, it will take the graphic away and you'll rub it off as you're working away on it. So it kind of takes practice to see how much water you'll actually need to take off the paper. And once you get that technique down, you're golden. And this type of sign, you can put a hanger on the back and hang it on your door, or you can just prop it up beside your door and it looks fantastic too. And now I'm just going to put a coat of my polyacrylic sealer in an outdoor formula and seal it up really well. And our welcome to our home sign is all finished, and I love the way that turned out, and I love it even more that I was able to upcycle an old front of a dresser drawer that was in the landfill and make it into something that was crappy and make it pretty. And all three projects are all done, and I'm so excited with the way that they turned out. Let me know down in the comments which one's your favorite. The upcycled drawer front made into a sign, the refreshed milk can, or the pitchfork. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I love to read them. I'll be sharing so many more DIY, thrifting, repurposing videos, so if you aren't already following along, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and that will let you know when I upload my next video. See you real soon. Take care and have a great day.